Gotta be monogamous with your words.
A lawyer friend of an advocate friend of mine who always says, "What did you just say?"
We on the African teachings, talking about the African teachings.
No. So, no. The way the question is are you aware with let them go to Lishuguti?
Yeah, that's the
I'm
way.
answering the real.
That's the same things, Buddha. That
So-
I was going
So
to say.
Umbrekele down futhi ukale ngoZulu,
Yes.
Izulu, Zula, Bantu.
Okay, Bantu, I've already break it down by explaining that Ba it's a prefix of Banaba. When we identify people, Bagwa, Vana, it differs how we use it in our context, the vocabulary we use. And then Ba means the children of, it's an identification of people, a particular group of people. And Tu means the sky. That is where we get the name Nut. That is where we get the name Nun. In Sumeria, in Egypt, Kemet, we get it as Nut. So it's an identification of people who travel from the sky, same as Zulu. It's an identification of people who from the sky and landed in planet Earth. So according to creational story of Kemet, it is said the god, all the gods, the Pantheon, the Ogodod, the innards of the Kemits, they descend from the sky and then landed in the reeds. We can get the same interpretation of the story being told in Freedom Park in South Africa, that when they land in the reeds, they came out from the reeds as living human beings. And we can get it in the Cradle of Mankind in Lowe, where they talk about people coming out from the cave, living, having their own shepherd stocks, I mean to say, livestocks and agricultural life, meaning they have their own equipments coming out from the cave.
Oh man, let me keep. They had their own shit, man. Cave cities, man. Cave cities. I love it. Let's keep. And the caves predate the pyramids, y'all. Pyramids come way later after the caves. The caves come first.
Been led by Ulowe, the great giant. So these are legends.
And he said that's the African Kemet teachings, right? He said that's what they teach in African and the Commission teachings. Is that's what they teaching? Interesting. That is what he said. The African Kemetic teachings. This is what they teach us, and he said it's the same.
No, he said all of them come from the sky. That's what he said. That's the part.
No, he said they came from the sky. No, he said they came from the sky and then they come out the caves.
No, that's not what. No, that was two different things he was saying that you're trying to conflate together. He said all of the schools of thought, from Kemet to Bantu to Zulu, all of them teach that the gods came from the sky, landed here on Earth, and stood up as humans, and appeared as humans. And then he said there's also stories of people that came from the caves. He didn't say all of them believe that story. This is a whole nother thought. He went to something else and said, about the people that came out the cave. That was their teaching.
Okay, hold on. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back then and see. Let me bring it back and see. Let's bring it back and see. We got the footage. Let's bring it back.
He equate cave with Berbers. Everybody that lived on in the cave on planet Earth is a Berber.
Don't be mad because you don't know shit about the caves, nigga.
I know Berbers ain't the only motherfuckers who live in caves, nigga. That's what I do know.
I know y'all been arguing there, but I'm just pointing out that that's not what he said. All the school of thought.
Last I heard is the Berbers are cave dwellers. Last time I heard.
He didn't hear that either, so he gonna say, see, he did say that.
No, let's see what he said.
That made the connection. That's why I love technology. Is sitting in Michigan, America, but they made it such that he sits here next to me. Uhlanganise abantu abase-South Africa eJozi boyithu mara lobela se-America umuntu wakhona, because abantu ababukela i-podcast lo muntu bayamfuna ukuthi hey why ningalethi umuntu oso ukuthi azoyibeka le ndaba. So the way ayibeke isiZulu noma izulu noma ukuzula ngakhona, I break it down ngakhona. It's so beautiful because now what you're doing, you're saying to people, no, guys, don't just use words randomly. You must pay attention to it and understand their real meaning.
Yes.
I mean, I get that a lot, those types of teachings from a lawyer friend of an advocate friend of mine.
True.
Who always says, what did you just say? I said, no. So, no. The way the question is, are you aware with like I'm
Yeah, that's the
I'm
way.
answering the real.
That's the same things, Buddha, that I
So-
was going
So
to say.
ungibrekele down futhi uqale ngoZulu,
Yes, sir.
Izulu, ukuzula, Bantu.
Okay, Bantu, I've already break it down by explaining that Ba it's a prefix of Banaba. When we identify people, Bagwa, Vana, it differs how we use it in our context, the vocabulary we use. And then Ba means the children of, it's an identification of people or particular group of people. And Tu means the sky. That is where we get the name Nut. That is where we get the name Nun in Sumeria, in Egypt, Kemet, we get it as Nut. So it's an identification of people who travel from the sky, same as Zulu. It's an identification of people who from the sky and landed in planet Earth. So according to creational story of Kemet, it is said the god, all the gods, the Pantheon, the Ogodod, the innards of the Kemets, they descend from the sky and then landed in the reeds. We can get the same interpretation of the story being told in Freedom Park in South Africa, that when they land in the reeds, they came out from the reeds as living human beings. And we can get it in the Cradle of Mankind in Norway, where they talk about people coming out from the cave, living, having their own shepherd stocks, to say.
Pastoralism is what they had. But anyways, so what y'all want to say to that?
That ain't got shit to do with Berbers.
He said the Commission teachings and all the other teachings say that they landed and came out the caves.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He
didn't
tells
say
him he
that.
didn't. I told you he was going to say, see, he told you that.
He said it's the same story, right? He said it's the
Right.
same story over here that they come out the caves.
He don't understand the
He
word
didn't
we
say that?
also.
Right.
The two words we also fucking him up.
We
Right.
also what?
We also get it from another story where the people came out the cave.
He's saying
Right.
all these
That's what he
stories are the
said.
same.
No, he didn't.
He
The
just
other
saw,
stories, they
he
didn't
just
come
told
out.
you they're all the
The other
same stories. He just
The
gives you
other stories did not come out the cave. He broke it down, each story individually. He went from the Zulu story to the Kemet story to some other
The
nation. I
lava
didn't hear
is-
what he said. So that's who said the people came out the cave. The last people he mentioned. You're trying to equate that with Kemet. Kemet didn't say nothing about people coming out of caves.
Nah, they all come from the sky and they come out the caves. That's literally the story.
No, they don't, bro. They don't all come out of the damn cave, Silky.
Okay, keep believing that. So let's keep going. What time it is? 14:30. I'll make sure the time.
Now he gonna go and tell
this.
somebody that next time he tell his story, he's gonna be like, I was watching a video and it said all the religions said people come out the cave.
Debunk it then. Go ahead and debunk it then.
He didn't
Make it
say
say not caves. Make it say not caves, nigga. That's what you work on.
all of them
He's
said
trying
they
to
came
look.
out the sky.
He's trying to connect that shit to Kemet coming out the get cave because he feel like Kemet is in North Africa, the Berbers in North Africa, and Berbers also lived in caves. So that means that the people who came out the caves was Berbers.
Do you know what a
We know
shepherd
where
is?
you're going.
Do you know what a shepherd is? Do you know who had cattle? Do you know who was nomad? You know who moved cattle? Do you know who lived in
a lot of
caves?
people.
Do you know
Many different groups.
So everybody,
Many different groups of people.
Who? What group? Who was the first pastoralist?
I could give you one off
Who
the
was
top
the
of the
first
head,
pastoralist?
nigga. Hebrew Israelites were shepherds, Silky.
Was they living
That
in
wasn't
caves with
Berbers.
cattle? Was that what they was doing?
Nigga.
The Hebrew Israelites. This nigga went to Hebrew. How fucking ain't that new? That ain't old.
Nigga. The Hebrew Israelites were shepherds and they are not Berbers.
The Hebrew Israelites ain't cave dwellers, nigga. The fuck?
The people of Naphtali were cattle pastoralists who are not Berbers.
You trying to, that's good. At least you learning about the troglodytes, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't tell them,
The
Ira, you
people,
been put them on caves.
listen, the people who lived in the caves in the Caucasus Mountains are not Berbers.
Is that what he said? The Caucasus Mountains? Stop lying, Ruben. You got to quit making up shit all the time, dog. Damn, nigga, you ain't got to
Nigga, I ain't making up shit. You type it in Google
He
and
said
ask them to
they
see if I'm
came
lying.
out of caves with cattle, nigga. There's only one fucking group that's about, nigga. Literally.
No, that's not, Silky.
So who was the earlier? Who had cattle then first? You tell me who had cattle first. I'll wait. That's what I fucking thought. All right, folks,
Yeah, I
and
know.
I'll clip this later.
Silky.
Stocks and
No
agricultural
matter what
Stocks,
facts we give you, you're
agriculture.
gonna
They
stay
had their
stuck on
own
your belief.
tools. They had their own cattle. They had their own cows. They had their own agriculture. They had their own motherfucking cities in that shit.
life, meaning they have their own equipments
This
coming up
nigga
from
here,
the
bro.
caves, being led by Ulowe, the great giant. So these are legends trying to explain our existence, where we are from as human beings. And most kings, that is why they were, I will spit the pins of the kings. That is why they wear a crown symbolizing the halo of the sun or the sun, to show that they are giving light to us or breathing light to each and everyone. Hence why it's called Umninizan or Umnumzan. That is where we get the name Numzan, meaning the owner and the governor or the caretaker, when we put it into right content, the caretaker of a particular place and the custodian of a particular tradition and customs and cultures. Such person is a king or royalty. So royalty is not that you getting paid tax. We're paying you tax because it's a tribute of you taking of our own society or natural environment. So that is why the name Bantu will have a reference of the sky and Zulus to show that the same people who civilize the world, they are from the sky. When you talk about alien, extraterrestrial, people will like to say, oh, you are talking about extraterrestrial. I'm like, no, I'm talking about me and you. Because no one will have a black DNA or a melanin. When people talk about melanin and electromagnetic that produce waves, you can.
Okay, when he was talking about crowns, I just wanted to add to that. You know, when you see the two horns like represent the Baphomet and all that mess, that's the old crown. A new crown has the two horns. When you see
Okay,
the
I hear that, but you know what he also said was that I believe he said that they was keeping the knowledge, right? That they was holding on to the knowledge, and the people that was had the knowledge and spreading the knowledge, they was looking up to them as royalty.
right, and that's why you see like the kings and queens today with the crown, but you see the pope with that tall crown, and it's like
Oh, the
layers.
fish head.
It's like layers of crowns. And see, that's all. They take the crowns of all the other gods that they done took over. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's equate to this one world religion.
Hmm. I hear that. He about to tell us about people being from the sun.
Right.
Never have a melanin without passing through the sun. There have a lot of people who have lived here in Africa or next to a climate that is high rich of factor of heat, where they are burned by the sun. But that same sun doesn't change their melanin. You need to inherit it through genetics. And we inheriting it through the genetical bloodline from our chromosomes of our ancestors, it because our ancestors passed through the sun. That is why we have legends and sagas of creational stories that
There it
we from the
is.
skies. And when we go to our stories, is that
Well, you do get tribes called, I believe it's called, what is it, the sun kiss people and the shining ones. So they, a couple of them, they got a couple sun references out there.
Them niggas took a wrong turn, ended up at the sun and got burnt. They were supposed to be
You
white. They
said,
left home white. They took a wrong turn, hit the sun, and
we are not the first creation. We are the seventh creation that was created by the creator. So there's a lot of times where the creator has
Pause.
destroyed the world. So there's a lot
You
of
saying
legends. These are the
Africans are
beings that
not
are
the first creation, they the seventh creation?
He
I
did
think he
say
meant
that.
like I think
Oh,
he's talking
shit.
about,
They
I
not
believe,
gonna
because the
like
first
that ever.
nah, because the first creation, I'm pretty sure they made a mistake, which is like how you getting your special, I guess, like your
That
deformities and stuff like that.
the first creation
Hey,
was
I,
made by Inky, and there was no mistake. His creation was perfect, but he helped Nema to correct her mistakes with her creation by using their bone marrow and their DNA and stuff to make that creation. Other creations came along, and that's why you get the people to say, "Oh, there's man and there's mankind," because the Adapa that came with them, that on down the line creation, when the Adapers carried those kids. You get what I'm saying?
I
Um,
thought they did that though because they couldn't get it right the first time. That's why
no,
they needed the girl
hey,
to
low
give
key.
birth.
When he said the seventh creation, it made me think about it. It's gonna seem like it's off the wall, but hear me out.
With the
You know, they
menorah or the
y'all know that in a lot of these TV shows and all of this stuff, they blend in a lot of little shit. Well, we all grew up watching He-Man, right?
mhm,
Well, He-Man lived on Third Earth, and Third Earth was supposed to be the third creation of Earth.
okay.
And Mum Ra's history is that he's an immortal. He was an immortal. That's why he got a pyramid still, because he's immortal. He didn't live since those days, since the times of the pyramids. And he's basically the last true human. That's I,
He was
that's
raw.
why he was blue, right?
He
That's why he
represented
was
raw.
blue.
yeah, I said He-Man, but I'm thinking about Thundercats. But yeah, he's supposed to be the last. That's why everybody else is animal like Beastman and all of that shit, and Clapjaw and Lion No and all of that. Like it's a whole different creation. But that's all, That's why I said that's what came to my mind when he said we're in the seventh creation, and that's
Well, he
been
was beast like too though, but he just was a dang on mummy.
Don't the menorah got seven things on it? It's supposed
You
to
know
be
what
for the
I'm saying?
seven.
Like that whole thing. Mom just stood for him being a mummy. But before he was a mummy, his name was Ra. That's who that
Thanks
was
to
in there.
deity. And he was blue.
And then what did he
no.
get on there and say at the
He said
beginning?
an incantation that he has to be transformed into one.
I get it. I, but it's Ra. I'm telling you that the MUM just means mummy.
Oh
His
yeah,
real name is Ra.
right. So his human name might be they keep that quiet in the. I don't know. Like I said, when he said that, it just that's the first thing popped in my head. Like, that's kind of that
Well,
remind
but
me
you
of
said he got a pyramid. The thing you got to remember, the trick about it, like they don't tell y'all is the caves predate the pyramids. The pyramids come way the hell later. So even if they starting with the pyramids, it's still a buku amount of people and time and tribes that are doing things way before that. Hence why you're at the caves. But you still got to wait for a lot of stuff to get civilized. Like I said, they're spreading education. They're teaching. They're giving them, showing them how to do stuff. But let's keep going.
spilling of the kings. That is why kings will wear even a leopard skin, because there's secrecy into that, and meaning that aligns with nature and aligns with what we are doing in our life. The same applies to Egyptian priests, why they wear the leopard skin. It is a secret.
Because that's why I talk about what is it? Can a leopard change its spots in the Bible?
Right. But hold on. Back to what we was just saying. I just thought about this. The most advanced cave is in the Grand Canyon. You know that, right?
I didn't hear about the most advanced cables in the Grand Canyon. I never heard that. I thought it was usually when you look them up, it takes you straight to Tunisia. Tunisia has pretty nice caves. Well, I mean, but France, they got caves in France. Italy, you got caves out there. South Africa has old ass caves. It's caves all. You even got Berenice troglodyte, which is means for cave. That's in Egypt. So there's caves all over. The caves are global.
Well, yeah, I just been
And the cave cities are even more advanced.
I've been seeing information here lately come down my timeline on how the Grand Canyon predates the ancient Egypt stuff and how it advanced, and you know, what we look at today in ancient Egypt with the pyramids and stuff, they saying it's like a copy of what was in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, you trying to go with the whole Grand Canyon Egypt thing?
It's
Uh,
interesting. It's interesting, and they
where Jose at? That's Jose Vega doctrine that Egypt is
No,
is in America in the Grand Canyon and all that.
they did show it in the tourist book, but people was denying seeing it. I saw it. I saw the
Was
little
there like a
figures they
lot of
was talking
structures
about.
out there or what? But then,
hmm
It
I
looked like
mean,
it's
I
a lot
did
of things
hear
that
that
used to be
they was
structured.
mining in the Grand Canyon. That's how it got like opened up or whatnot, because they mined it out.
right, right. So they saying that's where the first mining was at, was in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, but your issue though, I believe, is because if they're coming down here to get gold, you got to put a bunch of gold in the Grand Canyon.
Well, here's the thing: if you go back and look at the letters between Isabella and Columbus and all that,
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand and Columbus. One thing that Columbus was saying was that it was plenty of gold here, and the gold was good. And he was also stating that the people that came here signed contracts that if they find gold, that they would turn over the gold. It's in the Library of Congress.
No,
So
but you just jumped to
America, yeah,
1492 though.
what I'm saying is America is just as rich in gold as Africa, and that's the most kept secret. But if
But
you look,
however, you got to think of the size of Africa compared to the size of America.
it, I don't think that matter in this conversation.
Well, just the
Right
sheer
around.
size of it, they were
Because
getting
everybody
gold
knows
from all over Africa.
we don't know that. We don't know that because it seemed like they flipping things. You know what they
Okay,
say?
well, okay, so they said they claim. So they said so. It's up in North Africa, across the northern area. They got it's a bunch of wells. They're ancient wells that are like spread out to like miles, I guess here, a couple miles here, and they're spread out. They're old ancient wells spread out all through Africa in the north, and they saying that they claim it took them a whole week. It took a whole week to gather enough gold, like to gather a teaspoon worth of gold, is what they claim. Because in the rocks in
Hey there.
Egypt, the rocks literally hold gold in them. They have gold in the rocks in Egypt. I mean, in Africa. So that's where they were getting the gold from. Is coming from the rocks, but they'd have to break the rocks down to get the
What's
little
going
bit of
on, man?
gold that's in the rocks.
Okay, all I'm saying is that they have the lies to say Master Musa, no other African came here to America. There's absolutely a reason why you can go to the Grand Canyon, that they have protection around that, but you can go to Egypt and you can explore that freely. But when it comes to America, when it comes to the Grand Canyon and things like that, you ain't free to go there. Certain places is great for gold, but how you gonna look at those copy of the pyramids and things they got? Today we have what they call mounds, what they call trash heaps or whatever they call them, but you can absolutely matter of fact, I'm gonna go there today and show you guys. You can still see the steps and everything, but whatever pyramid was there, it's no longer there. But you can see that there was some type of structure there. But they'll call them
Well,
trash heaps and
I feel
whatnot.
that, but
So
you got to
I'm just
remember,
saying,
Mansa Musa had shit ton of gold.
we in the information age, and it's the reason that this information is coming out like this. That's just my opinion.
Mansa Musa's gold compared to what Columbus was talking about. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mansa Musa's gold mine, there was way like Then not to mention you got they was covering stuff in
So
gold.
you got to
They had
think.
gold leafing, in the gold leafing all in the pyramids. And then on the top of the pyramid was laced with gold. Like you got a lot of structures that literally got they had gold that was built into it. But I mean they stole all the gold now.
But
Now they done stripped all
Musa
that shit.
ties to America. That's something that they downplay, and they starting to say that Musa never exists. But good thing that the Musa dynasty is still existing today, so it's hard for them to write them out of history. But I find that interesting because in the museum in Florida, you have a map of Pangea, and today they saying like Pangea didn't exist and all this other mess. It absolutely did. You can go to the museum in Florida and see the map of Pangea. So, I mean,
It's just when
it's
you put the continents back together.
it's a lot of um foolishness going on, and I don't know. I know what they taught us, but I'm starting to think that it's something other to the story.
Well, you just remember one thing: they want your ass to go to school to learn Egypt, to study Egypt. They want Egyptology. They ain't got to study nothing else, just Egyptology. They ain't worried about no other place but Egypt.
Yeah.
That's where they want you to go to school. You can go to college and learn that shit. Now, what the hell is so good today in that motherfucker where y'all got this shit a curriculum every damn where?
You have people like Dr. Ben and different individuals that they had to bring that information to the table because they was teaching it regardless. So they had to incorporate this information.
You talking about Ben Carson?
No, Dr. Ben
Uh,
Yakun. I don't know his name.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, what they said, man, some Musa was dropping gold bars everywhere and making everybody bankrupt or was
I have a
bankrupting.
I have a Dr. Ben book, and that shit hard as fuck to read because I don't think English was his first language. That shit like trying to read stereo instructions or some shit.
Yeah, I watched a lot of his videos. Um and I listen to his videos, and when people talk about ancient Egypt and all that mess, even today the people who's supposed to be his students, they remix what that man say to incorporate their western um
Oh,
teachings.
Oh, so they doing him like they did your boy what's his name, Zachariah Stitchin. When Zachariah Stitchin died, they came out and said he was a quack.
Yeah.
yeah, they been going in on him a little bit. We were gonna pull up some information on him later today.
Because it's what they trying to do with stitching. Like, so now that he's gone, they like a lot of them are saying that his gods was um pale skin and things like
Gatekeeping.
that. But if you really pay attention to Stitching work, he's actually exposing that these were black gods in ancient Egypt. But of course, they don't want to give black people names. They don't want to say, "Oh, this is Imhotep. He was the father of writings and things like that." So a lot of stuff that they don't want to give black people because they understand that black people is stupid, and I'm saying all that mess. So that goes against their narrative.
Yeah, but that's just crazy though, because we had the empires first. We had the first. They didn't have any empires. They didn't,
Right. The
baby.
oldest
They didn't even know how to
castles
wash themselves.
correct.
They didn't even have no. They weren't even clean. They was dirty.
The oldest castles are in Africa, so that says a lot there.
Oh yeah, they don't even have like they lacking. They're
Talking
big
about in
lacking in
Zimbabwe,
their stuff.
out in Zimbabwe, they got that castle in Zimbabwe made of brick and stone, that big ass tower. They and their explanation for it was, well, white people had to come here and do this.
But we know that that was
That's
not,
what.
and even white people tell you that the biggest trade, how the Africans made their money, were the spelling books. So that's interesting. They had institutions, school institutions, all type of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a lot of stuff when you look at the history, and of course
Did y'all see what I posted the other day about the black well, I think it's Cletus the black that was Alexander the Great's motherfucking best friend?
What was going on with that?
Yeah, so Alexander the Great, his best friend was black. And but the nigga, and he ended up saving Alexander's life too, like one time. Saved the nigga life. And then I guess him and Alexander had like some drunken quarrel or what the fuck like that. And Alexander ended up killing the nigga. And then like going through a bunch of remorse and shit. And then they ended up killing Alexander the Great. But his top motherfucking general was black.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, and the woman. Um, I'm sorry. That was Caesar and the other guy that was with Cleopatra. Never mind.
Y'all want me to get back to this video? Let's see what he got to say.
City, they call themselves the leopard, or that is where we get the name a leopard. It's from Leo, meaning the lion. Because in Europe, they didn't know much about leopards. They have no species like that in their climate, no environmental inhabitants. So when we talk about leopard, they identify it as a leopard, meaning the Leo and the panther, which means it's two animals at the very same time. So they didn't have a name for that. That is why a leopard is called like that. But we have a name and we have a skin for it. And we represent and emanate the Egyptian priest, Egyptian commoner, the Egyptian kings, the Egyptian royalty, and the Egyptian gods, because we are the same characters and the same descendant from that Egypt. That is what I was told by my grandfather, and I had to found that through proper qualitative research.
uNkulunkulu, Xikwembu, Sonini na nini, Mudimu.
You know, when we will talk about God, because Sonini Nanini, people will refer it as God. Sonini Nanini, example, this name, it's a name that speaks about the momentum of the existence of now. That is why the momentum is treasured as God. That is why they say, respect your moment. So that in the hood where we grew up, you grew up in the same hood where they speak this kind of particular language. They will tell you that so nini na nini, it's when I do my things now, and I will show you what I'm up to. So when you talk about that, you are talking about the great force of the momentum and the presence. And then that great force is an infinite force that you put in the presence. That is so nini na nini. And then when we go to Shikwembu, it's you going to the great one. When you say Shikwembu, you are talking Tsonga, identifying greatness. And then when you are talking about Nkulunkulu, it's a mistaken word of saying Umkutulwane Gamkutulwane, the father of Nomkutulwane, the one great ever feminine beyond the Nut or Nun or Runtu, meaning the great ever space, the medieval waters that we identify as the space in our own languages. That is Mkutulwane Mkutulwane. So when Kolaway couldn't identify Mkutulwane, and he couldn't understand most of the interviewers he interviewed to know our African tradition in during the missionary program, he tried by all means to call it Nkulunkulu because he couldn't articulate our language. But the name is Mkutulwane, no referring to Mkulu Mkulu, because Mkulu is the one we honor always, or Ukoko is the one we honor always. It's a system of Africans that you honor your ancestors, like the same that is taught in the Bible. I'm not saying we can interpret African system in the Bible, but morality even, it's taught in the Bible that respect your mother and the father, which is your mother and your father, they were given birth by their own mothers and their own fathers. This respect must be applied to each and everybody who have lived, because you don't know where they are. Unless you are like me, you are initiated, you'll know where they are. But if you don't know where they are, you are applying faith and the hopes in things you don't see. You need to respect such people so that wherever you meet them, you've been applying the same respect and they will give it back to you. It's the same thing that is applying in the world. You need to respect human beings, rather not. You need to beg them. Like I will ask people why you say, I pray to my ancestors. And I'm like, I pray to my ancestors because I need to beg them. I will beg.
what the hell? Leo, Ivory, mute up.
Sbu for a particular a platform. Like, hey, Sbu, may I please have this particular platform? I'm praying to you. If I'm begging for money, if I'm paying for sweets to my mom, or I'm begging to anybody for anything, I'm praying to them. That is where we go to the etymological meaning of words. The word prayer traces its origin from the Latin word meaning to plead, not to beg. So if you are begging, you are praying. It doesn't matter if you beg a human being, nor an invisible spirit, nor a name that is not known, only identify in a particular book.
We've been going through such circumstances in KZN. May the people that have lost their loved ones soul rest in peace. Sorry, the people who've lost their lives, may their souls rest in peace. And
Yes.
very, very sad period in our country. We've had a lot of people raising their hands to assist in KZN. The government relief funds as well have been announced. We've heard some successful business people in the country flying down to Durban. They've been spending the past week down in Durban. Some of them have been donating in the region of millions. So we've been going through a lot as a country, especially in the KZN region. An interesting analogy is with all of this going on, and we're watching TV and we're listening to different people's responses, they're interviewing different people, politicians, and they interviewed a very interesting elder who said, Isililo sika Nomkhubulwane, the name Nomkhubulwane. Please break that down for us.
Um,
And,
when
and,
we
and what he meant when he was saying Isililo
no,
sika
when we
Nomkhubulwane.
say islilo sikaNomkhubulane, it's when we approach the fall. Like now we are inside the fall, and then it's lilo sikaNomkhubulane because Nomkhubulane has already missed Umvelinqang, because they have interrelation in the sagas and the old folklore that we are told that uNomkhubulwane and Umvelinqang were married, and then when they were married, they had all these relationships. These are sagas we are told. And then when you talk about Nomkhubulwane, we are talking about the all great mother. It's called Umbumbula or Mbambala in Sumeria. She was the great mother who used to brew beer. That is why we have Umqombothi. She used to brew beer in our community, but she was from the heavens. In the old times, it is said the gods used to live with men. So she used to brew beer with men, and they never understand her shipping if you put it in the modern context. And so since they never understood her shipping, woman will complain about her. Her name is Nombumbula, Unombala, Nokwaba. And then they had to call her Unomkhubulwane, because when every time men drank the beer, they have tendencies of misbehaving. And then these tendencies of misbehaving, they were called Umikuba Yelwane. And everybody knew that Lemikuba Yelwane, it is from the drink that they were drinking. So they had to identify Unomkhubulwane as umuntu who brings imikhuba yeyilwane, without knowing that it was Umqombothi, and that Umqombothi got most men not intelligently matured enough. That is why they behave like animals.
So in the context
So in the context of Unomkhubulwane crying, it's another saga. It's a saga of Nomkhubulwane crying for his men, because his men get crucified. When Mvelinqanga came to planet Earth, he was crucified by our own people. And these people who crucified him, they eat his bones and they cry. That is where we get the most terrible climate change that is called the Ice Age. And when the Ice Age get to exist, the only Springbok was the one who prayed for us.
Hello. Do you like your new Revive adjustable bass? Oh.
Springbok was the one who prayed for
What y'all think so far? All right.
us. And the hope of Springbok brought Nomkhubulwane to rescue us. So in that case, there's legends that happened that Mvelinqanga was killed by his own sister in the heavenly god as the pantheon of gods. some of the system that is known as Malukulu or Rumulutu or Rutu, the name Tutu. So sister kill Mvelingang, and Nomkubulwane was crying and pleading to found Mvelingang. And when he found Mvelingang, he pleaded because he was dead. He had to resurrect him back to earth. But he had to wait for the God of the dead, the God of the dead, to always wait for a period of 6 months that Mvelingang will come back again. That is a symbol of the seasonal change. This story still, it is told as Osiris and Isis, also known as Asar and Aset, when you want to use them in different content, also known as Musasi and Mbengu, the great hunter.
Inzalo yelanga, the Stonehenge. This is Mpumalanga I'm talking about. Cradle of humankind.
Mm.
Pyramids of Giza, pyramids in Mexico, pyramids in Sudan. What's the significance of these pyramids? And I asked the same question to Mkhulu Ntsingiza, is there's always been talks with it's aliens that have built the pyramids. Two questions in a row. Do aliens really exist, and did they create the pyramids? And if they didn't build those pyramids, who built the pyramids, and what's the significance of the alignment of all these different structures? As Mkhulu Ntsingiza has said, there is a relationship between all of them, or amongst all of them.
The pyramids of Peramando in America, in South America, and the Omeleks in the North America, they trace their origin from Toamgu, or also known as Kulkaken. And then Kulkaken, it's Tlatlamashono when you reach here in Africa. The relation is that these all stay what we call energy grid, if you want to call them, or energy field grid. They were built by the same people, the Bantus, the travelers of the sky. That is why most people will attribute it to extraterrestrial beings without knowing that they were built by Bantu. And the relation, it has much to deal with mathematics and the science that the Bantu know. Like simple steps, 108 steps to reach to the highest of the peak. And the 108 step, it's a distance you found between our moon and our planet Earth. It's 108 million of step of the light years to between our moon and planet Earth. And this 108, we can found it even between the distance of our sun and to planet Earth. And these are numbers that play sequentially with each other in alliance. And the equivalent you can found with the Pyramid of Giza. The Pyramid of Giza, it says it has the same diameter of planet Earth, the same ratio of our diameter in planet Earth. That's the same ratio of Pyramid Giza with its architectural design. So these relation, they are deeply connected with mathematical connection, what most people will say macrocosmos and macrocosmos, or what we can normally say in the simplest term, what is within, so is without. So the whole entire building, they were built in the structure of communicating what is within and without, how it connects, and how all these frequencies are aligned as one. Like the same, the Buramadok in Indonesia, it has 108 Buramadok stand, and the 108, as we have already explained. And when you put 1 and 8 and add them together, they make 9. And the ancestors of the Bantu are 9 ancestors. Like example, we talk about holograms, yet holograms have been displayed long time in the 70s in our books, in movies, in everything, subliminary. But the hologram hasn't been introduced. And Dr. Dre has made the biggest concert 10 years ago, a concert of a hologram of Tupac. So that gets us into clear understanding that technology is introduced to the better safe ones. The ones who are privileged are ones who can access highest grade technology. So long you have money privilege, we are talking about the structure that governs our communities. It's money, monetary system. So with that monetary system, that is why there's technology that is controlled. Talking about simple stuff. the hologram phones, all those things. But there's some secrecy or concealed classified information that I'm not even willing to talk about because it is classified.
When Mkhuluncingiza was here, he said, Busiso, labantu laba yingane zenu, man. And then I asked him what he meant. He said, no, in humankind or in mankind or in humanity all over the world, ati abantu bokuqala, the first human beings were thina abantu abamnyama. And then from there he goes on to explain. He didn't go deeply because we only had just an hour, just a little over an hour on that conversation. But for me, Begati, abantu bokuqala abala emhlabeni abantu abamnyama labantu ababayingane zenu baphuma kuphi kanti abelungu?
Okay, the stories that these are legends that we were told. You can get them in the pyramids, written in hieroglyphics, written in cuneiform in Sumerian. They are written in Chaldean language, in Masonic, in Babylonia, and in Kush. They are written in Gam and Sagam, in all these languages. A saga, it says that white people, they exist from Caucasus Mountain. That is why they are called Caucasian. And then in the Caucasus Mountain, in the Pale next to Greece, that's where they were created. And they were a genetical interbreeding species that were created by a particular ancestor within our family members. That particular ancestor was so jealous and envious that he was not welcomed by that community of the day, and then he created his own species. In one of the legends, that ancestor is known as a deform. That is taught by as a deformist, someone who's not well formed in human nature. This legend is taught in Ndaba, My Children, by Baba Credo Muta, that famous legend. That is why I'll allude unto it. It talks about Zareri, and Zareri being protected by Nelisa. And Nelisa was warned by the Kariba birds that Nelisa, what you're going to give birth, it's a pure evil that will be destroying the world generation to generation to come. So Zareri was destroyed, big powers, through building technology. That is where we get technology in Africa, and they knew about technology. We knew about that, and we had warnings that we don't have to have technology, because the coming back of technology will be a doom of our nation, or a doom of our civilization or life here, inhabitants. It will be transformed. Hence why there's a changing in this Aquarian era. So Zareri created his own species, and his own species were called Abanju, were called the Dojam, or the Gandu, or the Mafara. They were entertaining Zareri as the king of that species. You can get it into Indaba, My Children. It's a second version of the story after being told of Mama and Smagate, the creational story of Baba Credo.
May the Koko Credemuta, his soul, rest in peace. Of Vulamazulu. Vulamazulu.
Vulamazulu.
Siyabonga baba. Lalo ngoxolo lapho. He sat for hours and hours with David Icke. He had conversations on how he was abducted by aliens in Zimbabwe. Do aliens exist? And what was he trying to break down when he was talking that story? That is, if you are familiar with it, or any type of understanding that you may have as far as these extraterrestrial species are concerned.
Okay, when we talk about extraterrestrial, I want people to recognize that even black people are extraterrestrial. Before I will go to the other species. As I've said, we are Bantus, we are from the sky, so we have names to identify ourselves. That is why Rapela Badimu, Badim Baholi Dimo. So it's the heavenly people and the people who are from the sky, ones who are travelers, master civilizers, the master builders, the architecturers of each and every civilization. So when we talk about extraterrestrial, like the Chitauru, no, reptilian, or snake kind of looking like, if people don't understand that way, snake kind of looking like a